What's up guys, Bionic here with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we're going to be talking about Fusion Champions. There's a handful of them right now that I believe are extra important, right? With the addition of these two new Doom Tower bosses, some of them are even more valuable. So I've been trying to figure out like which ones am I going to build first. So there's a few that I already have built because I use them elsewhere, but now there's a few other ones that I believe are even more important. So I would quickly want to go over why I would build them, how I would gear them, but more importantly, I want to have your feedback to see if you think this would work so that hopefully the rest of the community can benefit from this. So all that said, let's check them out. So the first fusion champion we're going to talk about is Tormund the Cold for Bomul. You would think with that freeze debuff he would be really effective, but to be honest, of all the attempts that I tried, it never really worked out. This is only a 25% chance of placing a freeze debuff, and although it will activate when there's a freeze and an HP burn, when they're taking damage from the HP burn, think about it, if you put it on the dread bombs, by the time it's taken a turn, it's blowing up, right? So I don't think you get the full benefit of this portion of his kit. It's only a 25% chance of placing the freeze anyway, 30% if you use the Fearsome Presence. Even in a shield set or a stun set, I tried both. It really didn't work out too much. This part of his kit here is also interesting. You would reduce the cooldown of all skills by 1 if you hit enemies that are under freeze and HP burn, which you can do on the dread bombs, right? But overall, it didn't really work out for me. Maybe somebody will come up with an auto team that uses a Tormund, but for the time being, I'm gonna say not the best one. Up next, we have Yoshi the Drunkard, which we know can be good for Bomul because that's the one that I use to beat that boss so far on the hard Doom Tower floor 90, right? It's all about this skill right here for a 100% chance of placing the decreased accuracy as well as an HP burn, which is decent for that fight, but it is 2 hits at random. That's the part that I do not like. Also, I believe there is an epic champion that can do a better job. So my question is at this point on the live server is, do I max out Yoshi the Drunkard on my account just to get through this boss? I think it's a little bit annoying that they limited the amount of champions we can use for this, and if you don't have Whirlim, like who else are you supposed to use? You're down to Yoshi or that epic champion that you need to pull. So I don't know. I don't know if I want to put all these books. You got to get 6 in here, so like it's not easy to do. I would imagine a lot of you guys are not really looking forward or don't want to max out Yoshi the Drunkard. So if I were to regear him, I think I would do the same thing though that I did on the test server. I would go for full immortal across the board because you need a lot of sustainability, and even though it have a lot of heals, I would say that overall immortal gear is going to be pretty clutch. You need to reach over 250 speed. You need close to 400 resistance and above 300 accuracy, so good luck on building this champion. Instead of Yoshi though, we could be using Kantra the Cyclone for Bomul once again because she also has the decreased accuracy. The problem with this though is that it's also random, right? It's a 75% chance, I believe you can get to 80% if you use the Sniper Mastery, of placing decreased accuracy, block buffs, decreased attack, weaken, heal, reduction, decreased speed. Some of these are really good for the boss. That's a whole lot of debuffs though, and right, you might get a lot of bombs in return, but I figured might be a little bit better than Yoshi because of the triple hit. There's a decent chance you end up getting the decreased accuracy, maybe not. Again, very RNG dependent, but at least it's an accessible fusion champion assuming you completed her before. But the rest of her kit is also really interesting for Bomul. You're going to decrease each enemy's accuracy by 10 for each debuff they are under. Really good for Bomul. Don't forget, you're going to be placing or reflecting a lot of bombs on him if you have the following set that I'll cover in a second. And then she's also going to heal and take less damage for each debuff on the attacker, effectively making her a little bit of a tank here, so hopefully not dying as often. Maybe it's going to work out in a deflection set. So I've been trying to build that on the live server, but I would really need to max her out to see if it works. So I'm going to do that on the test server and then I'll get back to you guys, but I really want to know what you guys think about building a Kantra the Cyclone for Bomul. Up next, I briefly want to talk about Jorndig here because we do have a decreased accuracy on this champion. The problem with him is that he is the wrong affinity, and I tend to build mine with a lot of damage because I use him as my nightmare campaign farmer, not with high accuracy and high resistance, right? So if I were to use this guy for only the decreased accuracy, which is on a 3-turn cooldown, it is a 100% chance of landing. You're still at the mercy of the RNG and the weak hit. So which is better? You know, a maxed out Yoshi, a maxed out Jorndig, or perhaps a maxed out Kantra the Cyclone. So I'm going to say overall probably probably not going to attempt using a Jorndig. Brogni, however, is an absolute beast for this, even though he is also weak affinity. So I built mine, or I left mine pretty much as is, except that on the test server, I gave him a lot more speed. I went above 250. It might not be needed, but I also kept a lot of resistance. I kept his accuracy kind of low, and you do want obviously relatively high HP if you have him in a shield set. You don't need him in a shield set. You might still get by with an immortal set across the board here, because I think, again, it's going to give him more sustainability. But the shield set is maybe effective if you don't get stripped in the beginning at mitigating some of the damage from the boss himself, right? It's not going to do anything for the dread bombs, but at least maybe one shield set is going to help for that initial kind of hit, like I said, from the boss. I do have mine fully maxed out. You do have an HP burn on the A1, so I would suggest you do get some accuracy on this guy if you want to try and apply the HP burn. But overall, I think this is what we really like, just the biggest possible shield that we can get. All right, so I would suggest you try to work with this guy, absolutely. And then I have these masteries right here, which are a little bit sort of like a clan boss build. The next one is Krila Witch Arm, because I showed you guys that I can do Astronyx on hard, on auto, even with this champion right here. So I have this literally one legendary champion team, and it is a Krila Witch Arm. All right, so I'm using 2 allies joint attack champions. So obviously she's good for this. She's good as is, which is my clan boss build. So of course I have this champion fully maxed out on my account. Then for the masteries, I have War Master for the tier 6. I don't think this champion is going to be used against Bomel whatsoever, but hey, maybe you guys will figure out something. The final fusion champion I want to cover is Drokul the Gaunt. I think this guy really has potential for Bomel. This skill right here is a 15% max HP shield buff on all allies. It's not as big as Brogni. It's not as big as Melga Steel Girdle, but the thing is that it has a heal built in, and you also get some kind of counter attack. The heal will also happen before the shield is broken, so this might be clutch in allowing you to survive a Bomel. It's not going to help for the dread bombs because that is pure damage, but you still need a lot of shield champions to get through this. So I currently am using Brogni, and then I'm using Melga Steel Girdle. Maybe you don't have Brogni, but you have this guy instead. Might be worth it. Question is he worth maxing out in terms of skills? He does still need a lot of books, and then the rest of his kit it's good. Like, the increased attack, increased defense is good. Block damage is probably great, but if you don't have enough resistance, you're going to get stripped, and these are going to turn into bombs, right? So you got to be careful. As for gear, I think I would go full immortal here as well, right? Just more HP and a lot of heals every turn, I think is the way to go on pretty much all the champions that I would bring in there. Masteries, same concept. I would kind of go for something similar to this right here. You know, just overall stats. That is what you are going for, okay? So there you have it. Those are the fusion champions right now that I'm thinking of working with as much as possible, but I want to know in the comment section below, which one are you thinking of using? Which one would you max if you were to max a single legendary champion for this? Again, I know there's some great epic champions that can work. For example, my favorite one right now, and probably my most wanted one right now, so that I don't have issues with the decreased accuracy, would be Anox. I think this guy replaces literally either Yoshi or Kantra in terms of legendary champions because of this skill right here. A 3-turn cooldown for a 3-turn decreased accuracy, which means it's pretty much always up, or at least it's up at the right time when Bomel is about to strip. But as for the Astronyx, the Dark Fae, it looks like we barely need legendaries anyway. So I showed you guys all the epic champions that I used for this so far, right? So I showed you this team already, which is on full auto, and then I have the one that I used to complete a Bomel Hard 90. You see a Melga Steel Girdle in there. You do see Yoshi. You do see Brogni. But I've been trying to figure out, you know, more or other accessible champions for you guys in terms of legendary fusions. So anyway, do let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.